Hi, my name is Ruby, and today I will be interviewing Dr. Shoham, an infectious disease specialist at Johns Hopkins University. We will be discussing vaccines, masks, school, and the COVID-19 pandemic. You may know me from last year's video, where I interviewed Dr. Shoham about masks, social distancing, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Here we are a year later, and I thought we would do an updated interview. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this video useful. Let's go into the interview. Hi, my name is Ruby,
Hi, my name is Shoham.
and today we are doing an interview about masks and vaccines and just the COVID-19 pandemic.
Great.
First of all, how has your year been and how has your life changed in the pandemic?
So it's been a hectic year, and it's been one where we've had ups and downs, and but mostly it's been like a marathon, and I'm ready for it to be over, but I don't think that we're quite there yet. So we have to dig deep and keep doing what we need to do to keep each other safe and to be kind to each other and to remain our best selves. And how about you?
My year has been really hard because of the pandemic, just virtual school and everything. But I'm keeping on going and waiting for it to just like kind of calm down, but also just like keeping up and just yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with everything and still be safe. And yeah, it's been a hard year, but it's good to get through it and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And are you old enough to be vaccinated?
Yeah, I am vaccinated. Yeah, I got vaccinated a couple days after it was allowed for under, I think, 16 or something. So yeah, I did get vaccinated.
How'd that feel?
It felt good. Um, it felt good to be able to do more things, but still being safe. But it felt good to do some things, and it just really felt good to be able to socialize more and see more people in person. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So what research have you been doing?
So I've been involved in a variety of different things. Um, some of it has to do with using the immune system to protect people from getting the virus, or once they have the virus, to figure out a way to treat them using the immune system and using antibodies from people. Those projects are still ongoing, but we've already learned quite a bit about how the immune system works to protect people, what it can and can't do. So it's been a busy year in terms of that. And then
Mm,
also I have my job that existed even before the pandemic, which is taking care of patients that have infections, people that have gotten an organ transplant, or people that have cancer. So keeping up with that, and then also because their immune system is weaker than most people, trying to keep them either safe, or when they have an infection, figuring out the best way to treat them and doing it.
yeah, that's that. Thank you. So the next question is, last year we talked about masks. Now we have vaccines. I'm confused. How effective are these vaccines? Is it still important for vaccinated people to wear masks? Since I am vaccinated, can I go into restaurants? And that's one question, or
Sure.
multiple and one. Yeah.
So let's kind of break it down. So the vaccines, excuse me, are highly effective at preventing people from getting sick enough to require hospitalization, or God forbid, dying. So um, as was seen first in places that had high vaccination rates like Israel, but then also in the United Kingdom and now in the U.S., almost all the people that have gotten COVID in the post-vaccine era are people that um, do okay if they have the vaccine, and then the ones that end up in the hospital are predominantly those people that did not get the vaccine, or that got the vaccine, but it wasn't effective because their immune system was too weak to really respond to it. So one of the things that's being done is trying to see if a booster shot for people whose immune system is weak, to see if maybe 2 shots was okay for most people, but maybe somebody who has an immune condition that doesn't give them a good response to the vaccine, if getting them a third shot will get them over the hurdle. So the vaccines are highly effective in preventing the worst and horrible outcomes. They're probably pretty good at preventing people from getting COVID in the first place, but really where they shine is in turning COVID into something more of like a flu or a cold, rather than the devastating infection that it can be. In terms of then, should you wear a mask? So you've been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. Should I wear a mask? So I guess the first part is, don't be a jerk. If there's rules to a place to say wear a mask, wear a mask. Don't be the person that has the that has the chutzpah to say, I'm going to do things my way. Don't be a jerk. But then, what is the science behind wearing a mask, even though you've been vaccinated? And what does the mask do for you? So the mask does give you some protection, but more importantly, is if you do have the infection but aren't aware that you have the infection, because it could be what's called asymptomatic, that is without symptoms, but you can still transmit it to others, then the mask keeps it on you so you don't spew out viruses. And one of the important discoveries that was made in the past month or so was that even people that have been vaccinated can still and can still have a good amount of virus in their nose or in their mouth that they can then pass on to other people. That doesn't mean that vaccines don't work, but that they're just not as effective as was thought in terms of preventing transmission. So what do we do? So, for example, you go to the airport, or you go to a carpool, or you go to a closed place where there isn't good ventilation. You wear a mask so that if you, by some chance, have the virus, you don't pass it to other people. In
Yeah.
terms of restaurants, so it all depends on the ventilation. So I would not recommend somebody to go to a restaurant that is sort of like a hole in the wall with poor ventilation. On the other hand, something that's open and outside, that can be helpful, and then even indoor places with good ventilation and people having social distancing, except for the party that they're with, that can probably work out okay. But sort of sitting huddled together with a bunch of strangers in a poorly ventilated place sounds too risky to me.
Thank you. And then, why are some people choosing not to get the COVID-19 vaccine? Why is it important to get the vaccine? And is one vaccine better than another?
Sure. So the main vaccine products that are available in the U.S. right now are the Moderna and the Pfizer, and I'd say that they're pretty similar, and both of them require 2 shots. And then the Johnson and Johnson, or it's also called Janssen. They're two names for the same company, and that one is just 1 shot, and also seems to be effective, but maybe just a shade less effective than the other ones. So I would say that the most popular vaccines, because they're the most effective, are the Moderna and the Pfizer, and they're each a 2-shot regimen. By your age, you probably got the Pfizer,
Yeah.
because that's the one that's approved for kids, and that's a very fine vaccine to have. In terms of your question as to why are people
Not.
hesitant or flat out refusing to take the vaccine,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of reasons, and each reason is independent, and we have to be very respectful that people are make a choice as to what to do with their body. That it's not. I don't think it's cool to force anybody to do anything. However, I do think that that some people are misinformed, and because there is a lot of miscommunication out there, and bad communication out there about vaccines. People are hesitant to put something in their body that they don't really have a great understanding of, and then maybe they hear from their friends or from people on Facebook or other social media that the product is dangerous. There's rumors out there that it can cause various health problems, and so people are hesitant about that. I think it's very important for us as healthcare professionals to um, figure out what it is about people that makes them hesitant to it, and try to address those concerns. Now, there's going to be some people that are just going to say, no, it's not for me. And I'm sure you've met in your life people that are stubborn about it, and that no amount of reasoning can get them off their opinion. Uh, and then a lot of people are just misinformed, and can even get into a peer pressure that if their friends found out that they got the vaccine, they would get angry at them, and because the vaccine is not something that our crowd does. So there's also peer pressure. There's also peer pressure to get the vaccine. Uh, like uh, like like everybody I know gets the vaccine, so why are you not getting the vaccine? And therefore, we're going to treat you like a pariah, because you didn't get the vaccine. So I think it's important to be sensitive. I think it is important as a public health measure. So when you act as a doctor, you're sort of in some ways wearing two hats. The one hat you're wearing is you're the doctor to the patient, and the only thing that matters to you is that patient's health and that patient's wishes. But then also you're wearing the public health hat, which says, I want to do what's right for you and what you wish, but I'm also worried about the whole community,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to find a balance between that is can be challenging, particularly in the era now that we have, where there's social media, so that um, that it makes information available to everybody, but some of that information is accurate information, some of that information is not so accurate.
Mm-hmm.
What have you had experiences where you've met people that did not want the vaccine?
I haven't had personal experiences with people who have not really wanted the vaccine. Like maybe there's been someone like I've interacted with, but we haven't really talked about it or anything. But I do know some people who won't get the vaccine. And I try to be like sensitive of that, but I also just like want what's best for them and want what's best for the community, just for public health and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's challenging. I recently had a patient who met me for the first time, and I said to her, I said, "Did you get the vaccine?" And she says, "No." I said, "Why?" And she says, "Well, my friends tell me that it's not for me." And I try to educate her about why I do think it's good for her, but I also understand that that person was meeting me for the very first time, and yeah, because I am a doctor, then I do have a certain amount of influence, but her friends, she's known forever.
Yeah,
And they're telling her one thing and I'm telling her another thing. So she
sure.
has to navigate that. And that's part of the challenge that we're dealing with.
Yeah. So the next question is, Olivia Rodrigo partnered with Dr. Fauci and President Biden to help promote vaccines. Do you think celebrities promoting the vaccine actually encourages people to get them?
I think so. I think so. And I think there's different groups that appeal to different people. So, for example, there could be people that trust a certain athlete or a certain singer or actor or actress, and that and having that person say, "Look, I got the vaccine, and I trust it, and therefore I encourage other people to get it." That can help.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So the next question is, if I'm vaccinated and I get exposed to COVID-19, do I still have to quarantine? How careful do I need to be?
I believe the CDC has said that if you've been vaccinated and have been exposed, then you don't need to quarantine. But it could be that that they will change that. I believe the CDC has said that if you've been vaccinated and have been exposed, then you don't need to quarantine. But it could be that that they will change that as we get more information with the Delta virus. So I think before this goes to print, that should be double checked to see what the most recent recommendation is.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. The next question is, little kids still can't get vaccines. When do you think the government will approve the vaccine for the little kids? In the meantime, is it safe for them to go to school? Is it safe for them to play inside together without masks or social distance?
Sure. I don't have any inside knowledge as to when the FDA will authorize or approve the vaccine for the various age groups. I think that the studies are ongoing, and as that information rolls in, then the FDA will be able to make a good decision. You have to remember that when you're dealing with a vaccine, then which is something that's given to prevent the problem. It's one thing when you already have a problem, you have an ear infection, you go to the doctor, they give you antibiotic for the ear infection, you have the problem and you're treating it. A vaccine is to prevent the problem from happening in the first place. So the level of safety has to be very, very high,
Yeah,
because we don't want to harm somebody. We don't want to say to somebody, "Hey, look, we wanted to prevent this problem. Oh, and by the way, we created another problem." So
exactly.
the level of safety has to be very high. So with vaccines, they have to generate information to say that this is super safe and worth doing. So I don't know exactly when that will happen, but I think that the studies that will give the FDA the information to authorize it or are in process. In terms of what is safe for kids to do, I think it all depends on how much transmission there is in the community. So, for example, if you have a place that has the virus just spiraling out of control, bouncing between people, then you have to be much more careful, and the kids should be much more cautious, particularly if they're playing in a non-well ventilated area. On the other hand, if you have a place where the virus is under good control and they're playing outside, then that's a lot safer.
Hmm. Hmm. And is it safe for them to go to school?
Is it safe to go to school? I think that with proper precautions, with a high level of vaccination amongst the grown-ups that are in the school, with a high
Mhm.
level of vaccination amongst the kids that have that can be vaccinated, and with caution, whether that's masks or whether that's um, uh, close monitoring. As soon as one kid in the class is sick, then putting in precautions there. So I think using smart precautions, one can go to school, and I do think that there's um, a lot of benefit from going to school,
Yeah,
but that has to be balanced with the risk, and the answer is different for different places.
for sure. The next question is, I thought we were out of the pandemic when the vaccine became available. What happened?
So what happened is that um, that the virus was there all along, and people that had been vaccinated were much more protected than people that weren't. But a lot of people were not vaccinated,
Mhm.
so that was there. And then um, the virus continues to evolve, and a new version of the virus came around that was very effective at jumping from person to person. The famous Delta variant, not the last of the variants. We will still see additional variants coming. It's not the last. And I think that uh, uh, we're going to learn to live with this virus as more people get vaccinated, more people become infected and resolve the infection and get immunity to it. And then also the virus will hopefully mutate toward something that's more mild,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
as have other viruses over the years.
Mhm. So the next question is, I've been hearing a lot about the Delta variant. What is it, and is there going to be another shutdown because of it? I'm not sure I could handle another shutdown. Is that something doctors take into consideration? If there is another shutdown, would vaccinated people be excused from quarantining or some quarantining?
Yeah, so we're never going to go back, and that so things today are far better than they were a year ago. Uh, many more people are vaccinated and protected. There's therapies out there that can really reduce the chance of somebody ending up in the hospital and being sick. Uh, that, that that doesn't mean that there might not be little, wavelets and spots and saying, okay, let's press on the gas pedal now for another week or for a couple of weeks or so, and then get through this. Um, so I think that that we're just going to keep advancing forward. Uh, and uh, will there be a shutdown? There may be a shutdown for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, until a certain threat goes by, but then you'll open back up again. Um, and I think that it's just going to be adapting as the situation changes.
Yeah. So will we always be living worried about COVID-19? Is there an end in sight? It feels like we're moving backwards in the pandemic. Are we?
So we're not moving backwards in the pandemic. We're moving forward as uh, as I was just saying. I think COVID-19 or it will be with us for many, many years, but there's um, there's other viruses that I see in my patients all the time: respiratory syncytial virus, influenza when it comes, parainfluenza. So it will be, but I think as we develop better therapies, as we develop prevention, as more people are protected against it, then it'll just be another one of those things that doctors have to deal with, but won't be shutting down life as we know it. I think in time, uh, all pandemics sort of fade away for a period of time. It's not going to be a permanent thing.
Thank you. So the last question is there any reason for optimism? Is there any research that is hopeful?
Yes, lots of reasons for optimism. The vaccine is an absolute success story in terms of the fact that people that are vaccinated. Uh, okay, so let's take a step back. Last year, I had a lot of concerns. One of which was that I was going to get sick and end up in the hospital in the intensive care unit and even die. That's extremely unlikely now. So,
Hmm.
and that's because of the vaccine. So that's a huge advance. And then we have therapies now that, if given in a timely way, can decrease the chance of somebody ending up in the hospital by 80%. So we can, with the combination of vaccines and these therapies, we can all but eliminate hospitalization for COVID. So, and that's just where we are now, and we're going to continue getting better and better and better. So it's challenging what we're going through now, but lots of uh, lots of place for optimism.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me interview you. And thanks so much for all the information. And thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure. Great.
Thank you.